Hello, this is Afinia 3D. We will be going through how to install, set up, and operate our Afinia Studio software that goes with our later 3D printers, including the H400 and H800 Plus. So first thing we'll do is go into afinia.com and go under Support, go to Software and Drivers, and from here we are just going to type in some information about us. And tell a little bit about what we do and where we're from. So education, the products, we have the H400. And from here we select which printer we have, and then we have software for Windows, for Mac, also for iOS. For Windows we have 32-bit, 64-bit. We have Mac OS 10.10 and above, and for Mac iOS and iPad. Also these can be found on the app stores for each of these devices. So I'm going to go ahead and click 64-bit. We'll start the download. You can see we're downloading here now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and install our software, the 64-bit version. Click Run. In the Setup Wizard here, we'll click Next. Click Accept the terms of this agreement, click Next, and click Install. This is an important part here. Would you like to install the device driver? This is to actually be able to operate the printer or have the software communicate with the printer. So go ahead and click Install here. And now we can go ahead and click Run Afinia Studio. So if you have your computer connected to the internet, you'll see the first screen here is About Us. It's our home screen, and it'll have some of our products, some information. It's in a carousel where it'll be scrolling by. And then in the software here we've got a few different things. That we've got our build section, which we'll get to in a second. We have our help, and then we have just to start off with, we have skins, and this is just simply to change the color profile of what the software looks like. So purely cosmetic, not operational at all. And also help, very important to start off with that. We have manuals and guides for all of our products, instructional videos, frequently asked questions, and contacting our tech support department either via web, email, or by phone. And if we click on instructional videos, we can see here we have setup videos for all of our products. So from here, I'm going to go into Settings, and we have, you can choose multiple different languages. Update will show you the current version of the software, and if you click Update, you can click here to go to our website and download a later version of software if it's available. Clean up the cache is for any downloaded images, models. This is mostly for our iPad, iOS operations, to be able to clear out memory out of there. And if we click on Printer, it'll show us the different printers we have available. We have And these are over Wi-Fi. You can also, this will show a USB connected printer as well. And for here, we'll click on the H400. And if I click here, I can change the name of the device. It shows the serial number of the device. And I can change the name of the device in that screen as well. Setting up the Wi-Fi for the H400, it's easiest to do that on the device itself with the touchscreen display. The H800 has a little different process for setting up the Wi-Fi, and I'll get into that in a later video. So now that we're connected to the H400, we can see up here is that we have, it shows us the name of the printer. It shows us the temperature in Celsius of the nozzle and of the platform. It also shows us the material that we've selected to be printing in that was pre-selected in the printer. And it shows us that the printer is ready. If we go to build, we have the home screen, which gets us back to the previous screen we were just in. We have add, print, initialize printer, calibrate, and maintenance. And so we'll start off by going into calibrate. And in here, the first section is platform calibration, or making sure it's how level our platform is. With the H400, these are factory leveled platforms, so there's really no need to go through and do a platform level calibration per se. You may want to do a fine tuning on that, and we'll do that in a separate video. With our H800 and H800 Plus, we do have the option for an auto level, and when you click that, it will go through and operationally do a 9-point leveling of the platform. One remark I will make is if you are doing a manual level platform calibration, do reset the values before you start the manual calibration. Nozzle height. This shows us the current nozzle height for the device, and we can do nozzle detect. And so nozzle detect, we'll go ahead and we'll click this. You'll see that right now this progression bar is showing that we're communicating with the printer. The printer is actually going through an operation right now of raising the platform to trigger the sensor and to set up the new nozzle height level. And now that the system has come back and told us that it's detected the nozzle height, it gives us our value here. And in the compensation value, this allows us to either increase or decrease the distance of the nozzle from the platform. Depending on the material that you print with, you may need to change that. Otherwise, we really recommend that you just leave that at 0. If you're dealing with or you're printing with the H800 or H800 Plus, you can select flex or perforated in regards to the type of platform you're going to be printing onto. Flex has a little thicker than the perforated, which is a little thinner. With the H400, the flex board and the perforated boards are the same thickness, so those options are not available there. Click confirm, and from here we can click confirm. Under maintenance, we can extrude and withdraw our filament. We can stop the process of extruding and withdrawing. Under material, we have set up some custom material types, and also we have our standard material types, but we have a customized button here. It allows you to set up extra slots, including the 3 slots that were already pre-set up. And I can go ahead and I'm going to delete this line, click add, and I can name it whatever I want. We'll go back and we'll say it's test again. Put in a Celsius nozzle temperature of 240 and a platform temperature of 90, and click confirm, and that will actually save that in the printer settings itself. So if that printer moves to another workstation, these filament types will move along with it. The weight of the filament, we just type in a value here. I'll put in 500, and then preheat. You can do this for 15 minutes up to 60 minutes, and just by clicking the heat button here, you'll see that that starts to change colors, showing that it's heating. And we will click confirm, and we'll go into add, and we to start with, we can insert some of these primitive geometries. If you don't know how to build anything, you can just simply add this in, and this gives us a good opportunity to show what things we can do with the model once we have it loaded into our platform. So over here in the wheel, the first thing we might want to take a look at is scaling our object, and we'll click on scale, and you'll see it changes some things here. So we have our planes X, Y, and Z. We're locked right now on all 3 planes. We can change the value by clicking here and typing in a new value by a percentile, and click OK, and you can see we reduced our size by 50%. If we hold with our right mouse key and click it down, hold it, we can move it up to increase the size or decrease the size, and the red number changes to the percentile of our change. We can also click the unlock key, and we can select any one of these planes using this side here, or if you go and select an arrow until it turns green, click it, hold it, you can make changes that way as well. And hitting auto place will automatically place the model into the center or best position on the platform. We can move our object. Similarly, if we go to the yellow block, right mouse click, or left mouse click and hold it, we can drag it anywhere on the platform that we like. If we grab one of the arrows and move it, it'll move just in that plane. Or we could select here, type in a value, and it'll move those ways as well, or in these increment steps in millimeters. And then we can rotate our object. We can select which plane we want to rotate in. By clicking here, you'll see that a line has turned green. If we hover over a line and it turns green, we can also rotate it that way. If we screw up and we don't quite like what we see here, we can always go back to undo, and it'll go back to where we're at. Click auto place, it moves them back where we're at. By the way, if you hold down the left mouse key, you can move your view around. Other ways to change your view is by going to the eye here, click on view, and these are some of the different views that you can get. If you click on the box, that's back to a free view or the isometric view, and then once you're done there, you can click on the exit button. So we've shown rotate, move, scale, undo, auto place, and we can also, if you right mouse click on the object, we can set up a number of copies, and I can hit auto place and it'll automatically place these in. And something that with this as well is if we go into the more screen, if I have highlighted my objects, you'll see that this merge key becomes available. Right now, if I print these will all print as individual objects with individual rafts under each of these. But if they're close enough together where rafts may overlap each other, if you click the merge key, it will consider this all one part and make one raft under the whole thing. And from here, I can save this model, and it'll save as a UP3 file that I can pull in at a later date to reprint. If here, again, you want to go back a step, you can click undo. If you want to reset to default, you can click there. And that is just the original file that you would be defaulting. So I'm going to click delete all and click yes. I'm going to go ahead and add an STL file now, or a UP3 file. So we've loaded in our bearing gears. Now that it's loaded, we can go to print, and inside the print we have a few options. We can change the layer thickness. With our H400 we range from 0.15 millimeters up to 0.35 millimeters. If this is the H800 or H800 Plus, we can go from 0.1 millimeters all the way up to 0.4 millimeters. This infill is our different options. This is the shell mode. This will print just the outside shell of the object, nothing inside, so it's like a Easter chocolate bunny. This is surface mode. Not something you'll probably use. It just prints the one line of a vertical. And then we have 13% infill, 15%, all the way up to a 99% infill. Most times we recommend you doing a 13% or a 15%. The bigger infill that you have, the more time it'll take to print, and also if you're printing in ABS, there's a higher potential that it will cause the model to warp or lift off the platform. Now, printing with more infill will give you more strength. Quality, normal, fine, and fast. We recommend normal most times. With the H800 or H800 Plus, there is also a turbo mode, which prints 30% faster, and for large parts, it does help out, saves quite a bit of time in printing without giving up too much in quality. Nozzle offset, we talked about that already a little bit. This is just another place that if you have a material, say like a polycarbonate that you want to print with, that wants a little wider space, you can offset for that value. And before we get into preference, sleep. This is if you have this checked, once your model is done printing, it will put the printer into a standby mode, basically to shut it down. So if we go to preference, surface, we can change the number of layers of our surface. Default is 3. If you're printing in thinner layers, you may want to increase this to a little bit of to more layers to thicken up the shell a bit so that you wouldn't be able to see any of the infill on any lighter color transparent filaments. Angle is going to be the angle of the model itself as it transitions to strengthen some of those joints on those angles. It'll build a little more material into those corners. Under support, the density of the support, this is for the raft itself. If you have, again, printing in thinner layers, you may want to print in a thicker raft. It will make it maybe a little stiffer, which might make it a little easier to remove off the object, especially in deep wells. Consider if you do add more layers that it will take longer to print. The angle is going to be the angle of the object. It goes from 0 degrees on up to 80 degrees. So anything at these, like here it's 30 degrees, so it's saying anything 30 degrees or less, it will put support or scaffolding under. Anything above 30 degrees, it's going to allow the model to self-support itself. And these are the different angles. You can go all the way up to 80 degrees and down to 10 degrees. Area is the amount of area underneath If it first hits this threshold of the angle, then it'll measure how much surface area that angle has to be supported. If this is less than 3 millimeters squared in area, it will allow the model just to support itself and not print any support material. If it's greater than 3 millimeters squared, a bigger surface area that has to support, it will build the support material underneath there. Space for lines, our support material is going to be serpentine lines, kind of like an accordion, and it's the space between each of these lines as they pass by each other. The wider the space, the faster it'll print. However, the less support you're going to get for printing. So I would suggest leaving that at the default. You can do stable support. Stable support will encapsulate those serpentine pillars to actually make a pillar, so that the tendency of the support falling over in larger, taller prints is reduced. You can print with no raft or with a raft. It's really suggested, if you're printing without a raft on an H800, H800 Plus, that you really make sure that the manual leveling is completed very well, and we'll go into that in a different video. No support. You can print with or without support. We've talked about the support here. Unsolid model is checked here. If the model has any kind of holes, or some of the vertices are flipped, it'll check this box. It'll go ahead and print it as best it can and try to correct for it along the way. But if it's too much, you'll see some pink areas here, and you may have to go back into your CAD software and try to repair that. Thin wall, if that's checked, or if you want to check that, if you have some geometry here that's very thin, or that tapers to a very fine point, by clicking thin wall, it'll do its best to print that very thin geometry. Otherwise, if it's unchecked, it will maybe ignore some of that geometry just to make a more stronger, more durable part. And then preheat, if you have that selected, as you send the print to the printer, it will preheat the plant form for 15 minutes before actually starting the print. That's as good for when you're printing ABS materials. PLA, really not necessary. So once you've got everything set here, or if you've come in and you're not sure what somebody's done and you want to just go back to a default, just click default. And we'll click confirm. And from here we can do a preview of our print job. And this will actually go through and do the slicing. You'll see the progress being done up here. And this will come back with a preview of how much material it's going to take and how long it will take to print. So we've come back here now, and we see that it's going to take 3 hours 16 minutes and take 27 grams of material. And here, the dark blue area that you see here, this is actually a depiction of where it will be building the raft under our object. So you can see, if you have multiple objects together and you haven't done a merge, and you see that the rafts are connecting, you may want to consider going in and doing a merge on your object, or spacing them out a little bit further. We'll click OK. The print process, if we hit this down arrow key and we go to Advanced Print, we can have a couple of options here. These pause positions, this allows us to put in different heights for each of these 10 different positions that we can put in, say 2.6 millimeters. Here we might put in 3.2, and so on as we move down the line. And this will be great for doing backpack tags, where you want to have the printing on the top be a different color than the base, so that the name might be in a different color. And then down here, it defaults to printing to slot 10, but if we pick another slot, it will actually print and save this object to this print slot, so that if we go to the printer itself, or we come into print here, we can reprint any of the items that are left into there. So it's nice if you're doing this for demonstration purposes. So we'll click confirm. And right now we're printing. We're going to be slicing, and from here it'll start sending the files over, and once again it'll tell us the amount of time that'll take and how much material. Over here, if we want to stop the process, I can just click stop, and I'm going to do that right now just to be able to move on to other things here. So we're going to confirm that we're going to stop. And it'll bring the printer back to ready. From here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this model. And show you a couple of other, just one other neat feature that we have here. I'm going to click Add. And we can go over here, there's a picture tool. So we'll click Picture. Pull in a JPEG here, and we can see that even just by bringing it in with the defaults, we can see that it's already showing us a general look of how the geometry is going to be. So this is doing what's called a lithograph, and a lithograph is where once this is printed, you'll shine this up to the light, and it'll actually give you a great look of the this almost like a photo. And there's some different changes we can make on this. We can switch this by toggling the color, and by toggling the color, now this part here is a little bit thinner. This is going to allow more light in, and the part that's thicker is not going to allow as much light through. So the blacks will shine through black, these will shine through white. We can change our base height by scrolling this down, and you'll see that that's decreased it. I can increase the model height. It's in grayscale right now. If we go to sculpture, this is going to be just a real flat look here, and this is great if you have a real different change look, like say like a school logo that might be just 2 or 3 colors. This will give you a good way to print out a backpack tag that way. This particular picture is better in a grayscale, and from here we have some, you can add in a pen, you can erase some of the picture, you can add in some text, or you can crop it as well. So, and then from here, if we just back it out, keep our current model, we'll click yes. It'll automatically load that into our platform. And then we can go to printing this. One thing I will comment is that this does have a lot of geometry in it, so there are a lot of start and stops with the print head when printing this, and so it does take considerable amount of time. That's all of the features that we have here. I guess the one other thing is you can initialize the printer, but other than that, that's about it. If you have further questions, you can certainly go to our website at afinia.com/support, or you can send our support department an email at support@afinia.com, or give our support people a call at 952-279-2643. Thanks for watching.